think about the Detroit Lions' journey through the NFL offseason, one thing becomes clear. The decisions made now could define the team's future for years to come. As we all know, last season was a roller coaster with the defense, showing flashes of brilliance, but ultimately falling short in critical moments. That's the challenge Detroit faces now: how to turn those flashes into consistency and elevate this defense from good to great. The answer could very well lie in an unexpected player, a veteran who has been largely overlooked in free agency: Dante Fowler Jr. His name might not have been at the top of every Lions fan's list, but after diving deeper into his recent performances and the potential fit with Detroit, it's hard to ignore the possibility that he could be exactly what the Lions need. Let's break it down. Over the past few seasons, the Lions' pass rush has been a mixed bag. Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit's young star, has shown the kind of upside that could one day make him a top-tier player in the league. Za'Darius Smith, too, has had his moments, bringing valuable experience and leadership to a defense that has lacked both. But despite these talents, the Lions' pass rush hasn't been as consistent or impactful as it needs to be. When you look at the great defenses in the NFL, they all have one thing in common: relentless pass rush that can pressure quarterbacks and change the game at pivotal moments. Detroit has the pieces, but they need a player who can tie it all together and provide that extra push. Could Fowler be that player? Fowler may not be the household name he once was, but his recent performance shows that he still has a lot to offer. Over the last few seasons, he's been a solid contributor, especially in the 2024 season, where he posted 10.5 sacks. That's not a fluke, it's a clear indicator that Fowler still has a lot of juice left in the tank. He's not a spring chicken anymore, but at 31 years old, he could still be a productive player for a team like the Lions, especially given their needs on defense. What makes this even more intriguing is that Fowler would be a much more affordable option than some of the big-ticket pass rushers out there. The Lions have roughly $55 million in cap space, so the financials make sense for a deal that could pay off in a big way. But the story doesn't just end with Fowler's sack numbers. There's another layer to this narrative. Brad Holmes, Detroit's general manager. Before taking over the Lions, Holmes was the director of college scouting with the Los Angeles Rams, where he had first-hand experience working with Fowler. That connection is invaluable, as Holmes knows Fowler's work ethic, his strengths, and his weaknesses better than anyone. This familiarity could give the Lions an edge. When it comes to signing him, Holmes has shown a knack for finding players who fit the team's culture and system, and bringing in someone like Fowler could be another example of that vision coming to life. The big question, however, is whether Fowler can be the difference maker that the Lions so desperately need. We've all seen what Fowler is capable of, but will he be able to consistently deliver that level of performance in Detroit's defense? And perhaps, more importantly, is he a long-term solution, or is this just a short-term fix? The Lions are building something special, and while adding a veteran like Fowler could solidify the defense for the coming season, it's important to consider whether the team is looking for a quick fix or a sustained long-term improvement. If Fowler can provide even a few years of high-level play, then he could be a game-changer. But if his age and injuries catch up with him, it could be a gamble that doesn't pay off. So, Lions fans, what do you think? Is Dante Fowler Jr. the answer to Detroit's defensive struggles? Or is it time to look elsewhere for a pass rusher who can make a more immediate impact? The clock is ticking, and with the offseason winding down, the front office has some tough decisions to make. We know that the team needs to make strategic moves, and Fowler could be one of the best moves they could make. But only time will tell if it's the right choice. But of course, the Lions' work doesn't stop on the defensive side of the ball. The offensive line has been one of the most reliable units for Detroit in recent years, and one player who has been central to that success is Kevin Zeitler. Zeitler, at 35, is set to hit free agency, and while he's been a staple on the Lions' offensive line, his age raises questions about how much longer he can maintain his high level of play. Given his experience and leadership, Zeitler has been crucial in keeping Detroit's offensive line strong. But the reality is that the Lions might need to look toward the future and consider other options. And that brings us to Donovan Jackson, the standout offensive lineman from Ohio State. Jackson has been drawing attention from all corners of the football world, and for good reason. A versatile player who can step in at multiple positions. On the line, Jackson was an integral part of Ohio State's national championship win in 2024. His performance earned him a first-team All-American nod, and scouts have consistently praised his ability to protect the quarterback in open lanes. For the running game, if Zeitler leaves, Jackson could be the perfect replacement to step into the starting lineup and help anchor the offensive line for the next decade. But as promising as Jackson's potential is, it's important to understand the challenges he would face transitioning from college to the NFL. The NFL is a different beast altogether, and it's no guarantee that Jackson will be able to hit the ground running in Detroit. He might have the physical tools, but it will take time for him to adjust to the speed and complexity of the league. The last thing the Lions want is for a rookie to struggle and potentially set back their offensive line. However, Jackson's versatility is one of his strongest assets. He has shown that he can play across the line, from guard to tackle. And that adaptability could prove invaluable in a league where injuries and changes to the lineup are inevitable, with players like Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, and Frank Ragnow already providing a solid foundation. Jackson would have the opportunity to learn from some of the best in the business and develop into a cornerstone of the line for years to come. Said, it's important to consider what would happen if Jackson doesn't immediately pan out. If he struggles to adjust, the Lions could find themselves in a tough spot, especially with other players on the line, like Graham Glasgow, needing to bounce back from a down year. Zeitler's departure could leave a void. And the last thing Detroit needs is to create a ripple effect that weakens the entire line. However, the Lions do have depth, with players like Christian Mahogany, a promising 6th-round pick in 2024, waiting in the wings. If Jackson doesn't work out, Mahogany could be an option to step up, though he, too, would have to prove himself. But back to Jackson for a moment. His adaptability and the skills he brings to the table make him a compelling choice for the Lions. He's a player who's shown he can be relied upon in big moments, and with the right coaching and development, he could step in as the future of Detroit's offensive line. However, the pressure on a young player to replace someone like Zeitler, especially when the team's success is so heavily reliant on a strong offensive line, can't be overstated. The Lions will need to be patient with Jackson, but if he can live up to his potential, he could solidify the offensive line for years to come. The reality is that both of these decisions, whether to bring in Fowler on defense or trust Jackson to step in for Zeitler, are stakes gambles. The Lions have a promising foundation, but these moves will determine if the team can take that next step. It's clear that the front office has its work cut out, balancing the need for immediate improvement with the desire for long-term sustainability. We move forward. These questions will continue to dominate discussions among Lions fans. Can Fowler bring the kind of pass rush production needed to elevate the defense? Is Jackson the future of the offensive line, or will the pressure be too much? Whatever the outcome, the Lions are at a crossroads, and every decision made this offseason could have a profound impact on the direction of the team. So, what do you think? Could Fowler be the veteran presence this defense needs, or is there a better option out there? Is Jackson the future of the offensive line, or is he too much of a risk? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below because, as always, your voice matters in shaping the future of this team. If you've enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep following all the latest news and updates on the Detroit Lions, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Lions News Fan Report. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with every new development and piece of news. This is just the beginning, and the Lions' journey is only getting started.